Hello, everybody, and welcome to one more episode of Sound Bath Sundays. I am so excited to be here today. Let me fix this camera. Okay, there we go. We have my beautiful Ganesh. You know how many people want to take that Ganesh? Every time they see it, they're like, I'll have it. Thank you very much. And I'm like, no. I carry him everywhere. He weighs a ton. It is pure carved stone, and he is just absolutely beautiful. These angels, these little cherub faces, couples, I have two of them. They used to be in my garden. Mariola, they used to be, how many years ago? 24, almost 24 years ago, I had a beautiful, the tiniest cottage in a place called Coconut Grove, my favorite place to live in Miami. And we had this tiny wooden cottage, whose, I don't know, its deck. Let me figure out the grammar. Witches, no, you can't say witches. Whose, but it's not a person. So if anybody knows, let me know. But anyway, it had a deck that was wider than the footprint of the actual cottage. And it was grandfathered into the back of the lot, that it had maybe, 2 feet. It was literally pushed all the way back. It had 6 or 7 mango trees. It had a beautiful fountain, a coral rock fountain that was just incredible. But the most amazing, the pièce de résistance of this cottage was that on the right side, as you walked in, it had a pathway. The grass was beautiful. The mango trees were absolutely stunning. And we had a kumquat tree. But all along the side was a coral rock, 6 feet tall wall that had a shower of ferns growing out. So it was the stone with all the ferns coming down like a waterfall, but made of ferns. Just thinking about it, it's like, oh, unbelievable. And then we built this beautiful trellis where I planted, I wanted to have passion flowers. If you've ever seen a passion flower, you will know why. It's a stunning, stunning flower. So we went and bought out all these passion flowers to put on the pillars of this incredible, amazing deck. And my ex-husband was incredibly talented. He built the whole courtyard. He planned it all with the most incredible brick right outside the house. And the pathway had this pergola with all the passion flowers flowing, and the courtyard. I mean, we lived outside. It was unfreaking believable. And so I found these at a store right on US 1. There was an antique store, and I found these and I fell in love with them. And these were hung, they were hidden within the ferns. Truly a magical place. Hi, Julia, Daniel, Leslie, everybody. Welcome to Sound Bath Sundays. I am doing like a little interlude before we get started, because I got, I was looking at my Ganesh, and, it is so important to be surrounded by things that, like, as Marie, whatever her name is, would say, which would spark joy. Many years ago, I decided that I was going to make sure that my environment was filled with beautiful things that would nourish my soul through their beauty. And I also decided, sometimes you'll see me wearing these odd fitting clothes lately. I don't know what's going on. But it might be odd fitting because, I have my heeling hanging here, making it all crooked. But if you touch it, I used to, ever since I was little, I would be made to wear socks, which, every child has to wear socks. But the socks that they used to make when I was little are not the same socks that are made today. They used to have a huge seam that would land right on my toes, that my shoes would squeeze, and the pain. I remember I put up such a fight with my mother. It was like they hurt, and she was like, well, you have to wear socks because bloody freezing outside, so you're gonna wear socks. And I was like, I don't want to wear socks. And it was illogical not to wear socks, but the seams, my God, I don't know where she got, as people say, bless her heart. Noelle, my daughter, will laugh if she hears me saying this. But bless her heart, my mother, every trip she went to the US, I don't know how long she spent or invested in finding me seamless socks, until every day, every time, the seams would get thinner and thinner, until finally she found me these invisible seamed socks. The problem was then forevermore fixed. But here's the thing, Marie Kondo, that's right, Danielle Johnson, Marie Kondo. So many years ago, I decided, because I would be the one that would wear the uncomfortable shoes after I grew up, but they look amazing. So I'd be going and when you start walking like a chicken on coals, it's not a good, it's like, I would do that because the look, it made my legs look longer. The heels were high. I would wear these heels in New York City. I don't know if you guys have watched Sex and the City, but my heels were like just those heels. Absolutely not the price tag of those heels, but they were just as high. And I don't know how I survived, because my weakest points in my body are my ankles, and I've suffered from it. So I decided at one point never again to wear something that didn't just feel good on my body. I didn't want to subject my body to torture just for the sake of a look. Fortunately, for all of us women, there are more and more beautiful, beautiful pieces of clothing each day with fabrics that are soft and gentle on us. And it's all about how we treat ourselves. And when we begin to treat ourselves with love, it translates to everybody else. And when we begin to include ourselves, last week we were talking about, right, pulling the tassel back from the heart center, so that when the love pours out from our heart, it would actually enfold us and include us in that feeling, in that intention. And I hope you were able to practice that, and it brought you, and it sparked joy. But it is something that as we practice it, it creates a new state of being. Now, through these past months, or through these past, few years, there has been, I think that the idea, the illusion of division has always been there, but somehow it has gotten more intense. At the same time, the yin and the yang, and the day and the night, there is never one thing happening without something else counterbalancing it. And I believe, and I have actually seen and experienced and been a part of that other side of knowing in me that we are one. And as I keep saying, you cannot grab a knife and stab, with your right hand and stab your left arm and believe that you're not going to be putting yourself at risk, or that it's not going to hurt you, or that it has nothing, or that this side is completely detached from this side and it has nothing to do with it. In the same way, we are humans I don't know if it was we came with that imprint or how it just happened or where it comes from, but the idea of separateness is something that most of us, I feel, especially in the Western world, I can only speak from my experience. I don't know, maybe in other parts of the world, really, it's not like that, but it has been my experience that whomever I've been in contact with all over the world, there is a feeling, an idea of separateness, an idea of complete differences or complete detachment. And I'm not going to say, oh, there are no differences, but I will say that we are all made of the same ingredients, basically. We go to the molecular structure. We're all 98% space. We are water. We are chemicals that are put together and held together and given the consistency or the illusion of solidity by vibration. And when we begin to connect to the love that we are, we begin to go within and really truly connect with our own path, with our own mission. We will pretty much invariably come to the realization that we are not here by accident. Something that I used to believe for many years. I always thought that I had been dropped off here by accident and somebody would figure it out at one point and come rescue me, because I just could not understand what was going on in this planet. To this day, I still don't, but somehow I feel like I'm supposed to be here. So I don't know about you. Maybe you have felt that way. Maybe you felt like you didn't belong, like you were the odd duck, like somehow you were not able to fit in. Or like me, felt like you were dropped off in this strange planet of absolute contradictions. So much beauty and so much ugliness. You felt like I was adopted, like you were adopted, Danielle. Yes. I didn't feel like I was adopted. I just felt like I was from another planet and I had no idea what I was doing here. I was just like, I just know. Someday somebody's going to be going through the files and they're going to say, oh my God, we dropped her off at the wrong planet. Let's go rescue her. And there would be a rescue mission. And I'd be like taken to the place that I envisioned. And that place was a place filled with love. That place was always for me a place filled with God energy, with God being, with God connectedness, with beauty, with kindness, with generosity. And then I began to just focus on those things that made me happy. And then those things started to show up more abundantly in my life. And the things that made me a little crazy started kind of disappearing because I was not vibrating at that frequency. So I began to become literally invisible to those things, and those things began to become invisible to me. Now, it is when I fall prey, which I do, to the fear vibration, to anger, to frustration, to all these lower vibrating energies, that the things that at one point when I'm vibrating high are just invisible, all of a sudden begin to take form again, and they become very real and very solid, right? Very solidified. And because there is so much of that vibration going on around us, sometimes I find it difficult to raise myself up to that vibration and literally remove myself from those situations that are vibrating at those lower frequencies. Now, here's the thing. How do I do that? Well, I have to literally stop myself. I have to notice my breath. That's the first thing I do, because when I go into fear, I don't know about you, I don't know if you've noticed, it could be different for each person. Excuse me, some people, they go into absolute constriction. You might feel like a lump in your throat. You might feel your chest being squeezed. You might feel your enteric system, right? Your stomach, those ganglia. That's like the second brain, I call it. These system of, I guess they're nervous terminals that surround your stomach. The one that gives you butterflies. That system. Some people start getting ill, right? You get sick to your stomach, you have digestive issues, things like that, because the fear starts affecting each one of us in a different way. I believe it affects us in the weakest point. Like if I have a tendency to break bones, I might fall and break a bone. If I suffer from stomach issues, I'll get a stomach bug, or I'll get something related to stomach. If I have circulation problems, just right, it affects everybody in a different way, I believe. I may be all wrong. I tell you, don't believe me, go do your own research. But in my experience, in my opinion, that is what happens. And in order to get ourselves out of that, how do we do that? Most of us stop breathing. Like, I believe that there's such a thing. I don't know if there is, if they've called it or if anything, but you know how people don't breathe at night, they stop breathing, and then all of a sudden they go, and it's something that the doctors want to fix because it's not supposed to be normal. Well, I believe we have that, and it's called waking apnea in my reality. I call it waking apnea. When I literally just stop breathing, I'll just go like, and it's a total paralysis of me. I go into freeze mode, and that freeze mode includes no breathing. Well, that unchains a series of reactions. First of all, your brain goes into, emergency protection. She's starving us again. How are we going to protect ourselves? We're lowering the cognitive functions because the brain uses 25% of your resources, of your glucose and your oxygen. 22.5 glucose, 25%. But let's round the numbers to a quarter of. It's like it's close enough. And so the brain uses a quarter of your resources, and you decide, or your fear attacks you and you stop breathing. Well, Houston, we got a problem. So the brain goes into, let me shut down for a bit. Let me just keep this part on, which is the primitive brain. That is the part of your brain that is in charge of keeping you safe and alive. It is also responsible for the fight or flight or freeze response, which means you are reduced to a reflex, which means you are not able to respond to anything. You are just in reactive mode. Ugh, that is not a good way to be in. Usually, when we're in reactive mode, things happen. Like we'll say stuff that we wish we hadn't. And once those words have left the tip of our mouth, you're like, ah! You can't get them back. You've already said it. You've already stuck probably your foot in your mouth. We have reacted in ways that could potentially make situations worse, not better. There is no ability to take a moment and literally detach, find that little gap between thinking that what is happening is us happening to, oh, I'm an observer and this is happening. And, oh, maybe if I do that, I can just diffuse everything. It's like just pulling the little fuse out and everything will dissolve, which can actually happen. But we lose all of our ability to do stuff like that. We're in reactive mode. And so the first thing to do is just simply notice if you're breathing. If you're breathing shallow, fast breaths. If you're completely stopped like me, I'll just go like, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not breathing. Let's just start by taking a breath. And then it usually takes me into palpitations. I'll be like, oh my God, I am high strung. And so it hits me in my weakness. If I'm a high strung person and I get stressed, I also have a condition that makes, like a physical thing that makes that a weak spot. So where do you think I'm going to get it? I am going to get into my high strung mode. Then what happens? I do not like my high strung mode at all. But then I think it's me and not an effect of what's happening. And I forget that I'm the cause of it original and that I can change that. So I go into full reactive mode and I start beating myself up for acting in a way that I don't like, that I was at cause in the first place. Am I making sense? So when we breathe, we give ourselves that moment where we can just go, and then the magic happens, because as you breathe, you are sending resources to your brain. You're also shutting off your primal reactive brain. And when you have it on, it's as if a iron door has been just like shut down, and there is just no way to access your library of information, your clear thinking, all of the intelligent part of your brain. You're in primitive survival mode. And when we breathe, all of a sudden, it's the key to lifting that door and being able to access your calm place, your intelligent, smart brain that can find the most incredible, amazing, unexpected, sometimes solution to whatever situation you might be facing. So breath is the first thing that I go into. Second, I have figured out that the mind cannot be stopped from the mind. It just cannot. Because if I tell you, don't think of a purple elephant, exactly. If I tell you, don't think, and you begin like, don't think. What happens is, yes, you think more. So there ensues a battle of the wits, where it's like you're trying not to think, and your mind's like, well, you're not going to shut me down. it believes that it's in danger of dying or disappearing. So it's going to put up a battle. And it's going to become an internal battle where you will find yourself fighting it forever. But there are ways of actually deactivating your mind, not from thinking, because that's what our minds do. They're meant to think, and minds are a beautiful thing when they are directed in the proper way, in a way that will, when you become the captain of the ship, you can direct your thoughts, and thoughts are what bring things into this reality. So what do you want to bring? Do you want a crazy mind that's bringing you like Jumanji into your life? Or do you want a mind that is disciplined, that is strong, that is powerful, and you know it, and you are able, and one is able to direct it in the direction of our dreams? Now, that is what I call power. And so when we learn to do that in a way that is non-violent, non-resistant, how do you say it? Pugnitiva, like non-fighting, right? Where you don't have to fight, where you don't have to try to pretzel yourself or your mind into, or forcing it into doing something, but you just indicate it. You just lead your mind through a different way. And then that's when I learned that, when I came into that awareness, I realized that was probably what Einstein said when he said that you cannot solve a problem from the same level from which it was created. Like, you can't calm your mind from your mind. You can't heal your mind from your mind. If you have mental issues, your mind is not going to heal them. Your body will. And if you have bodily issues or physical issues or illness, your body won't fix those, but your mind will. And when you learn that there's a mind-body monitoring system, and you learn how to utilize that, the angels sing. It is a magic key to having everything you ever dreamed of. When I have learned different ways of being instead of ways of doing, because I had forgotten, like a lot of us, to be a human being, and became a human doing, forgot to be in the process, forgot to live, forgot to enjoy. I had a huge, long to-do list, which, not gonna lie, I still have. But when I got or accomplished what I had on my list, it was just an endless check, done, next, check, next, check, next, check, next. So I was always in struggle, in reaching mode. And when I actually arrived, first of all, when I arrived, what I thought was going to happen and how I thought was going to feel when I actually arrived there was nothing like I thought. Like, I thought the first day I would sing in front of an audience, a paying audience, like in a show or something, I thought I was going to feel the most incredible feelings. I thought I was going to have the most incredible butterflies in my stomach. I thought I was going to feel on top of the world. The day that happened, my nerves before it were so bad. I used to have such stage fright that I would throw up, literally get so sick before I sang, to the point that my husband would say, "Why are you doing this?" I like, to yourself, why? It's like, I just see you suffering so much. And I would say, I just have to. It's something inside of me. I can't tell you why I'm doing it, but I just know I have to do it. And it was a process of conquering my fears, but I could have, I know now with what I know now, I mean, it could have been so much easier, but I had to go through it, I guess. And when I actually had my first show, incredible musicians, incredible music, my musical director, oh my God, I couldn't have wished a better, more supportive person. It was amazing, amazing. The show was out of this world. I had a friend. We had a couple that were our friends, and she was sitting. I gave them the table in the front row, right? So they had this front row seats, and the entire show she was like looking at me like that, and I was thinking the entire show, all I could think is, oh my God, she is hating how I sing. This is terrible. Her face was just like not like happy, nothing. She was just like the entire show had a stone face. And at the end of it, she was like, how did I not know you sang? It's like, how? And I was like, because nobody knew. I was a closet singer all these years. Like, the only people who knew I sang were my teachers and my car. And she was just in shock that she couldn't believe that I actually could sing. But here I was in my mind making up this story, right? And at the end of that show, I was like, huh. Literally was like, okay. And then I was so upset. I didn't feel like, I did it. It's like, no, it just kind of it was a culmination of all this hard work, of months and months of prepping, of months and months of coming up with new arrangements, with new things, with songs and harmonies and musicians and things. And then it was just like, oh, it's done. And there was such a low after it. And there was all of a sudden I had nothing to do because I had worked so hard. And what I experienced actually was what I call the hangover. After all this work, it's like have you ever gone to a personal development workshop where they have you like screaming and aligning with what they're telling you, or aligning with what they're going to sell you at the end of the day, and they have you, with the adrenaline pumping, and they have you crying and laughing and this and that, and you're like, you're on a high. You leave those things and you're like, I'm on top of the world. Tomorrow I am going to crush it. And Monday comes, you're home and you're like, oh my God. I am like, first of all, I'm exhausted because of all the adrenaline that went through my body over these last 4 days or week or however long, or the weekend, right? And then you're just like and you're like, I don't know what to do. I mean, they told me what to do. I don't know how to apply all this knowledge. And it's like I call it the hangover. I feel it's like, yeah, Tony Robbins. you walked on fire. Like, I came back from work camp, and it's like I've done stuff that I never thought I'd do, and I came back, and I think that one was the one that I knew more what to do or what actions to take after. But in general, most of the things that I'd go to, I'd come back and it's like 2 days to recover from it. And then you're like, and then I was just like, okay, what do I do now? I need someone to tell me what to do now. It's just like, never land. So circling back to the theme of today is, when we accomplish and we take the time to celebrate, to give ourselves the credit, to acknowledge ourselves, and when we learn to direct our mind and hold the vision steady, we don't have to be efforting continuously. We don't have to be in the grind. Like people say, like, you have to grind, you have to hustle, you have to, oh my God, especially for us ladies, it is not natural for us to be doing that. I don't know about you guys. I mean, there's different, I've just came across recently with human design, right? And there are certain types of people that are built like, yeah, you can just go, 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 which, some of those people can't stop. And I was trapped in that cycle, trying to become or be someone that I was not, and making myself wrong for being me, and for accepting that I just don't function in the same way. I can't just keep going, grinding, hustling. I remember I was in Mexico City 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago in October. I had been there going through some treatment and stuff. And that particular month, I had not worked a lot, but a lot of my clients called me. They gave me jobs. They were just like with high ticket price, whatever. They were a lot of money. And I did, I don't know, 6 of these jobs or 10 of these jobs, and I made the most I had ever made in 1 month. And I had spent 3 weeks of this whole month playing. I was so happy. I was feeling great after going through this treatment I'd gone through. I was starting to feel good. I felt like my body had energy. I was with my parents. I was with my soulmate dog Marmalade. We were having a blast. And it was the month that I got more money ever. And I was like, holy cow. Like, I worked a week and this can happen. And that's when my whole thing started to change. It's like, yeah, it's like you can still do what you're doing and earn more money. You just have to get focused and concentrate, contemplate, hold the vision, and keep doing. Because it's all about putting one foot in front of the other. It's also not about, and it doesn't mean efforting. It just means keeping yourself in action in some way, meaning it's like a wave. You don't, the ocean isn't just like a continuous wave, right? It comes in and it goes back out. It comes in and it goes back out. The moon is like a full moon and a new moon, and it goes through all the cycles. And when you learn to just ride on the wave, you start surfing instead of getting trampled by the waves. So it literally, you just become a life surfer, as opposed to getting just like fuckada by everything that happens in your life. Anyway, as we connect to our true essence, and I have always believed, a lot of people say our true essence is light, and that has been going on for a while, but I truly, with every fiber of my body, and that's why what I do, that's why my logo is the frequency of that thing that I believe that we all are. And it has nothing to do with partners or parents or filial, any kind of, but just pure unconditional love. And when we connect to that essence that we are, everything that is discordant begins to fall away very, very quickly. We begin to live the truth of who we really are. And yes, there's light that you have to come in. There's parts, we're water, we can make the imprints, but the essence, the seed that we are is pure love. So as we connect to that part, we begin to become coherent. And, there's a lot of talk about alignment, but I've been talking about this for years. It's becoming one. So when we become one whole entity, then everything as inside, so outside, right? As within, so without, as above, so below, it's Hermetic law, universal law. So as we begin to create our own beliefs, because 99% of the beliefs that we have are not even ours. They're things that we like we're born into, that were imprinted in our DNA, in our cells, from that came from generation to generation. When we begin to release that, we can choose to be that person. We can choose to be that one in the line of people that came before you, that made you possible. And when we break those chains, we are not only doing it for ourselves and everybody who comes after us, but we're doing it for everyone who came before us, because there's really no time. And time doesn't run in just one direction, letting you in on a little secret there. It just doesn't. And we are able to set ourselves and all of our ancestors free. And that is the most amazing feeling ever. And then we begin to have the space to choose our beliefs. What are we going to believe? Are we going to believe that this is a cruel and terrible universe? Or are we going to believe that this is a love, kindness, generous universe? Generosity-filled universe. My grammar today is leaving much to be desired. So what we begin to believe is the seed of our thoughts. And then our thoughts create our emotions, they create our words, and they fuel our actions. So when we come into full alignment, we will never be in front of a person and be saying, "Hi, how are you? Great to meet you." And inside be feeling, "Oh my God, I can't stand this person." Blah, 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 blah. It just won't happen. And guess what? You won't run into those people. And if you do, you won't do that, because you'll find a different way of approaching it where you don't have to be in dissonance. So everything becomes harmonious. Your body begins to be in harmony with each other, with itself again. Like every organ will be doing its job without having interference of some kind. Toxins won't affect you in the same way. Things that are low vibration, you won't even recognize, because that vibration is going to be so far below you. It just won't exist in your plane. So I invite you to every day make a conscious effort to bring yourself up. I have this bug flying around me. I was telling my grandsons, like, call it a moosh. It's a fly, right? It's a fly that I don't know why we're in here. And he'll be like, moo, moo. I'm like, moosh. He's learning to speak. He's 2. It's funny. So he goes to his mother and is like, "What is moo, Mom?" Because he says mo for cow. And I'm like, no, mo is cow and moo is mush. It's just a fly. It's a sophisticated way of calling it, of calling a fly. Anyway, there is a fly flying around here. Anyway, when we vibrate at a higher frequency, then all of our organs begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. They begin to come into harmonious being with each other. And you will experience vibrant health, happiness, because you will have these chemicals running in your body that usually you have cortisol, adrenaline, things that are making you feel bad. We are into this, I call us adrenaline junkies, right? We're addicted to the feel bad hormones. Well, there's a way to wean ourselves into out of that addiction and bring us into a homeostasis where we're able to find inner peace. And it is all led by directed thoughts and clearing of or focusing on the beliefs that actually resonate with us, and then everything, and then using our body to create that, and understanding the connection between our minds and our bodies and the hormones that get released into our bloodstream. Because a lot of the things we're experiencing are physiological. They're not even because of the mind. The mind will find stuff that the body's telling the mind to find so that the body can get the fix. I hope that makes sense. But if you want to learn more, you will in my new program called Coming Home to You. The name came thanks to my friend Danielle, who's here today. And it's a 21-day program where you will experience, if you have never before, a peak experience during meditation. You will understand how to do it with this system. And there is, I think, as so far, I've run this program 3 times. We're going to start the 4th iteration of it in not tomorrow, but in a week. And everyone who's gone through this program has had an amazing transformation within the program, and has translated into amazing successes in their life. They are able to bring that into their everyday life, and change just has been happening in the most amazing way. Thank you, Danielle. Yeah, I'm very excited. It used to be called Meditation and Transformation, and every one of my people would say, no, it can't be called that, because it's not just meditation and not transformation. It's like, it's a magical thing. And I'm like, I know, but I just don't know what to call it. And I was in my mastermind, and my mastermind sister, Danielle, was like, she had been to one of my ceremonies. She's part of my Moon Harvest program. And it was the first time she actually experienced what I do. And she said, I felt like I was coming home. It felt like coming home. And I'm like, oh my God, voila, that's the name of the program, Coming Back to You. And that's what it is, because my mission is to empower everyone who comes through my programs, so that they know that they are sovereign beings, that they don't have to look for answers outside, that whenever we feel lost, whenever we go into fear, whenever we don't know what the next step is, we don't have to find someone to help us. We don't have to find a guru, find the one who holds all the truth or the oracle. We don't. We can just go within and find that genius that lives inside of us, that when we connect will give us every single answer and every single desire, and will give us the ability to connect to that and bring it into this reality. It is almost like magic. It's like all of a sudden your magic powers are activated, and you don't ever go to someone for the answers. You can go to someone for inspiration, for camaraderie, so that we can all rise together. But you will never, ever, ever again, and that's my promise to you, feel powerless again. God knows I had that happen in my life. It was not a good place. And I thought I had to find all the answers outside. And I thought I was broken and flawed and damaged goods. And if any one of you have ever felt that or are feeling that way now, dear Lord, may I be able to connect to you and promise you that that is an absolute BS, an absolute lie. You are perfect. You are amazing. And nobody told us how to connect to us. Nobody told us how to come home and just be in our stillness. But it's literally in the Bible, be still and know. And I couldn't understand that for years. Like, there's so many things that I would hear all these sayings, all these things coming from the Bible. I'm no Bible scholar, and I'm definitely not a religious person, but I have a super deep connection to God. And I would hear "be still and know," and I'm like, what does that mean? I have no idea. Now I know. Now I know. And now I can, with my little flashlight, show you the way. So and you don't even need me. You can just go within, and all the answers will unfold and unravel from within you, because you are, it's like the oak, right? You see the acorn, and the oak is all in there. All the information for the oak is inside that teeny little acorn. And it's the same with us. The most amazing, magnificent human being that you are, you already are. And if you're feeling that you're not, that's just an illusion. So it's all about like removing the veil and really being able to connect to that magnificence. Anyway, let's get ready. I've talked enough today. God knows I like to talk. Let's get ready for the sound bath. It is called Coming Home to You. Go ahead and place your feet flat on the ground. Put your palms facing up in a receiving position. So just visualize, go like this, and visualize letting go of your garbage bags, of all that baggage that you've been carrying around that no longer serves you. Go like this. Let it all go. And then empty-handed, ready to receive in full. Go ahead, place your palms facing up on your thighs. Column straight, your spine straight. If you want to, go ahead and close your eyes, wiggle your toes, bring yourself in for a little bit, because we're going to be flying. And then do 3 to 6, maybe 9 if you feel like it, cleansing breaths that will slow the primitive brain, right? Your sympathetic nervous system will activate your parasympathetic nervous system. You get the feel-good hormones rushing in your bloodstream. So go ahead, inhale do like 3 or 4 counts, then hold for 1 or 2 counts, whatever feels natural and organic. Exhale with a big and when you do that, feel how good that feels in your body. Do that 3, 6, or 9 times, whatever feels good to you. Enjoy a moment connected to that beautiful essence that is you. And when you are ready, start coming back. Wiggle your toes. Take a deep cleansing breath. Do a little stretch. Come back. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Sound Bath Sundays. I am so looking forward to this week. You don't want to come back. Yeah, I felt it. That's why I was like, no, I don't think they want to come back. I'm like, come back. Actually, you can just stay there and enjoy that magnificence that is you. So if you don't want to come back yet, don't. Leila, todavía no está aquí. I have to wait 2 more weeks for Violet to be here. And I was thinking, I was like, I hope she likes my sound healing because she's going to get a lot of it. She's only 6 weeks old, so I'm waiting. I literally just spoke to the lady, and in 2 weeks on Sunday, there'll be a rerun of Soundbath Sundays because I am going to be picking up Violet. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's Celebration Day. I will probably be doing a live unveiling. My friend, who is the one who actually found her, Marta, she was calling me yesterday. She's like, you are worse than people that are having a baby or that have adopted a child. It's like, I said, yeah, I'm going to have a gender reveal party. And I know, I'm terrible. I'm the worst dog mother ever. Or the best. I don't know. I think I'm the best. Because, it's like I'm ready to be owned by a doggy. Anyway, I love you all so very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me in this crazy journey that is life. I am so blessed to have you in my life. I love you very, very much. My friends on YouTube, I love you. I will see you next week. Take care. And